Well, hey everybody, I thought I was done driving, but that seems to not be the case.
Tiny house prepper.
I gave my boss a week's notice, and I drove for a week and thought I was done, and then she called me and she was in desperate straits, hadn't been able to find another driver, so she asked me if I would drive for another week. I really thought about it. I really didn't want to do it, but I've had a good relationship with her for 5 years, so I agreed to drive for another week. So I've only got a couple days left, but now because of that I find myself here in the middle of Winter Storm Grayson. I drove, I knew it was coming, so for the load today I actually drove down here last night and spent the night in the truck, so I have a few hundred miles that are already done that I don't have to drive. And then I spent the night here in the truck. This is my sleeper cab in the truck. Now I wake up this morning and it is unbelievable out here. We didn't get a whole lot of snow, maybe a couple inches. It's still snowing, but I'm on the extreme western edge of the storm, so we didn't get the foot that they're calling for up in, Boston or something. But the wind is unreal. It's like 30 or 40 miles an hour, and I laid here in my bunk last night, and the whole night the truck was just swaying like this, and the wind was so bad it made me seasick while I was trying to sleep. So here, I'll show you a little bit of what's happening outside right now, and I'm just kind of sitting here waiting. It's almost, it's going on about 11 o'clock in the morning. I should have been driving a couple hours ago, but I'm just sitting to see what this is going to do. Like I said, the snow's not bad. Most of the roads are clear, but the wind, it's blizzard conditions, and the wind is just unbelievable. And believe it or not, these big trucks, you think, oh, they're heavy, they don't have a problem with the wind. That's not the case. It acts like a sail, and the wind can just pick you up and turn you right over. Even if you're fully loaded and you weigh 80,000 pounds, the wind can just blow you right over on your side. So I'm really reluctant to start driving in this wind. So here I sit in my truck that's rocking and rolling as the wind hits. Fortunately, I have a really good cab heater that runs off of the diesel tanks without the engine idling, so it's nice and warm in here. But here I sit in the weather that I was trying to avoid. Yeah. So I'm parked at a truck stop, and I'm actually nose in instead of backing in like everybody else does. I like to do that because it gets me away from the sound of the idling trucks which are in the back of my truck, because I'm in backwards. Also gives me a little bit more privacy. So here I am able to just sort of look out over this farmer field at the edge of the truck stop, and you can see the wind here is just blowing. Now I know that if you're from Kansas or Nebraska or something, you're thinking a 40-mile-an-hour wind, that's no big deal. When I used to live in Colorado, I saw several blizzards as we were crossing Kansas or eastern Colorado, where it was heavy snow and 60 or 70-mile-an-hour winds, and that's really serious. And this is only 40. That's not that big a deal by Western standards, but in the east here we just don't see 40-mile-an-hour snow very often. So I'm just sitting here all day watching the wind blow, watching the snow blow, feeling my truck rock back and forth. When I first started driving a truck 8 years ago, I would actually drive through weather like this, and it seems like every year, you'd think that the more I drive in this, the better I would get at it, but every year I actually got worse. Every year I found it to be more and more stressful, and now I'm to the point where I just can't handle the stress of driving in this bad weather. And that's the main reason that I quit now, when I did, instead of quitting next summer like I was planning to. I just I've had enough. I'm just not going to drive in this weather anymore. So that's why I gave notice. So here I am the next morning. I actually didn't go anywhere all day yesterday. The wind just never let up. And so I got here Wednesday evening. I was supposed to pick up my load on Thursday and deliver it. I sat here Wednesday night, all day Thursday night. Now it's Friday morning. I'm going to pick up my load now and deliver it today. The wind is still blowing, but not like it was yesterday. It's probably 20 miles an hour today, which is no big deal. Yesterday it was 40. And there's hardly any snow on the ground. We only got a couple inches, like I said, and it all blew away. So, but I have good news. You know, I told you my boss wanted me to work for another week. She called me yesterday evening just before she left, and she said, can you deliver the current load, which is the one I'm delivering today on Friday, and then one on Saturday, and then you're done. Bring the truck into the terminal. So I was very happy about that. So I'll do this load, which I'm almost half done already because I drove a lot of it before the snow started. And then tomorrow, Saturday, I got one load to go, and then as soon as I finish that, I'll take the truck into the company terminal and turn it in, and I'm finally finished. Finally. So I spent the day yesterday in the truck just laying back there in the bunk, and on my smartphone I've got a Kindle app. I'm in the middle of reading a book. So I spent a lot of the time reading a book, and then I watched some YouTube videos and some Netflix videos, movies on my smartphone. And yeah, it was a long day. I spent a day and a half here, 2 nights here, just sitting in the truck. Talk about cabin fever. You guys wonder how we live in our 250 square foot travel trailer. Well, here's a 50 square foot, or no, 30 square foot sleeper cab that I just spent a day and a half in. And I couldn't go outside because the wind chill was probably 30 below. So there I sat, but it's done. So I delivered my load. I'm home now. Hallelujah. The wind's blowing outside still. It's probably wind chill of 25 below out there. Tomorrow I pick up my last load. I deliver it, and then I take the truck and turn it in, and I am done forever.